Hello! I'll just check I've got it on. Ow! Yes. Yeah, I haven't done a video in a couple of days because I've been really sick. I think I had the what's it called, a neuro illness or Nibiru, or I don't know. Basically what happened was I visited my stepdad in hospital. I've been visiting him on and off most of, well, up until Wednesday. You know, he fell off his bike and he hurt his hip, and I've got to phone my mum to find out how his surgery went. And I felt a little bit rough on the morning I went back to see my boss at work, because I'm going back to work at last. And I felt a bit rough. I was having pretty explosive shits. But later in the day it just got worse and worse and worse, and pretty much the whole of Wednesday evening and all of yesterday I was literally lying in bed and then having to get up really quickly, go to the toilet and go back to bed. And I did that all day. But I did watch some pretty good videos on YouTube, the Bible Reloaded videos. Really did keep me cheered up. There are a couple of fellas who, they do videos mainly, well, they're atheists. I'm still not 100% atheist. I can see where they're coming from a lot of times. I don't believe in a God that is constantly altering people's lives. I believe that Christ was a man, he wasn't a God. But his teachings, I like his teachings, particularly the ones about doing things to help people and expecting nothing in return is a much better justification for doing things than getting something out of it. You know, I think the term would be doing a good thing is its own payment. You don't have to expect something in return. I know it's anti-capitalist, but you know, I stick with that belief. I try and help people who don't ask for it, and people who won't even accept that I'm helping them. You know, a lot of people on my job at the railway, you'll go out your way to help them, and sometimes they won't even say thank you. But I just accept it. I accept it that human beings, well, the human brain is made up of three major sections, and unfortunately the oldest part, the R complex, has a tendency to be a bit of a dick pretty much most of the time. It's where most of people's nastiness really comes from, is their R complex. Their brain can't, the frontal lobes where we develop most of our personality from, and memory sections, they still have to work through the R complex. It's a little bit like having a super computer, but it's still having to rely on old style energy methods to keep it going, like, you know, turning water into steam to run dynamos to keep it going. Yeah, I'm getting a bit off subject here. But yes, I'm very ill, and fortunately I haven't got any pain at all in my stomach today. I don't feel bloated anymore. I took a load of Imodium, which will probably make me constipated for a couple of days now. But since I didn't eat anything at all yesterday, apart from a couple of bread rolls and some of that Heinz soup, I've got to do a video on them. I've made sure that I've kept a sachet of each free because they're actually really good. Yeah, yeah. Particularly the tomato one. Tomato one's really tasty. What was I saying? Oh yes. So today I'm probably going to go out in a couple of hours, maybe get something to eat when I'm out. Something not too... Because I've got stuff in the cupboard, but I want to avoid eating dairy products because from what I was reading on NHS Direct, if we've got any American viewers, if you go on Google and you type in nhsdirect.co.uk, it is the NHS thing, and it basically it saves a lot of time and trouble with people going and wasting time at doctors by literally just giving you advice on loads of things. I was amazed when I was looking up about Crohn's disorder, because my sister's got Crohn's disorder, and I was worried a couple of months ago I was getting a lot of trouble with my stomach, that I was developing it, and the amount of stuff I read up on it, and it's all for free. You can access it any time, which made me realise that what I had was constipation. It wasn't Crohn's disorder. But yeah. Can't think of anything else to say. I might do another Let's Play video later in the day for Left 4 Dead 2, which is my all-time favourite game that involves working in a team. Even though the other night when I played it, I couldn't find any online. I hope that they haven't brought down the server at last, because it's been around since about 2006. But it's such a good game. It's so simple. That's the secret to it. If they re-released it on the new consoles, maybe with better graphics, maybe more levels, what I'd really love to see on a Left 4 Dead game would be a create your own character type thing, where you could literally make a copy of yourself and put it on the game, and maybe add some extra powers so you've got some difference between the characters. Say if you're a fatty, you're going to be slower on your feet, but you'll be able to carry more. If you're a light, spry person, you might be able to do a bit of parkour. If you're sort of military trained, you'll know how to mod weapons and things like that. Stuff like that, What I love about Left 4 Dead as well is using things like axes and baseball bats and cricket bats, because cricket bats direct joke linked to Shaun of the Dead. And the chainsaw, I love the chainsaw. The only weapon I prefer more than a chainsaw on Left 4 Dead is the M64. But you really got to hunt around for one of them. But they're brilliant, especially for taking down the tanks. But if they could make an updated version of the game and put it on a next-gen console, I'd be buying a next-gen console tomorrow. The major problem I have with most of the big consoles at the moment, there's no games on them that I'm really interested in. Halo 5 looks boring. From what I've seen of it, it literally looks like Halo 4, and I hated Halo 4. Halo 3 was a little bit tepid, compared to number 2 and number 1. But, you know, the problem I think with the Halo games was they made Halo Reach, and since then they've tried to make all the games like Halo Reach. And Halo Reach wasn't a really good game. It was quite boring. I don't get it myself. Halo 4, I'd seen them in game shops for years and years and years, because it's been out for like about 3 or 4 years. And I saw one that was going for £3. I thought, oh, I'll get that for £3. And I can understand why you see so many of them in game shops. It's just a terrible game. It's too quick, doesn't explain enough. Yes, it has bold things in it, but it's just so, yeah. Especially with the ending of Halo 3. I thought it would be leading to a completely new type of game, one that would have nothing to do with the rest of the Halo series. But no, what do we get? We get basically a tie-on, and a really weak tie-on as well. And it's just like, oh god. Also, I found the controls a little bit on Halo 4. I really wish that you had the two gun thing. This is what I noticed when I did my Dishonored video. That you use both triggers for different things. I love that. I love that with Halo 2, that you could have 2 of the guns and be firing away. You just literally have 2 pistols. But not many games do that. I'm really surprised that you know, especially even Call of Duty. I was like, maybe better using 2 guns instead of 1. But I don't know. Call of Duty shit. I tried to play the main game of Black Ops 2, and it literally, you could think it had been written by someone at Fox News. Its interpretation of the history of America and special forces is so, oh yeah, we're great, we're wonderful. You know, it's just bollocks. But yeah, because special forces are literally just assassins. It's like the SAS and the SBS. People seem to have this sort of view that they're special soldiers and everything they do is good, and it's not. Special forces are literally about killing people, and a lot of times they're doing it highly illegally. That's why they're called special ops, because they can't be officially linked to whoever's in charge of the country. That's why they're special operatives. It's not that they're the best of the best and good people. They're usually quite psychotic, evil people who are basically doing it for large payouts of money. They're not driven by some reason. They're doing it for the money because they are paid quite a lot of money. But yeah, I'll probably get bumped off now by the SBS. But yes, so hopefully I'll be able to be walking around. My bottom literally feels like someone's gone at it with a blowtorch. I'm definitely going to have to get some what do they call them, germaloids. Yeah, it's strange because the last 2 winters I didn't get hemorrhoids at all, but because of this, oh, you know, feels like a horror movie up there. But anyway, yeah, I don't want to make this X-rated or anything, but oh dear. Yeah, and lying in bed yesterday, I watched absolutely tons of chick what are they called? Chick something. I'll just check on my YouTube. See if it. Oh God, I can't find them now. Chick Track. These comics, and I found them before on trains, because particularly strangely on usually Fridays, not on Sundays, but I find a lot of religious bullshit paraphernalia, usually from Baptists, left on trains. That and Seventh Day Adventists, and I sometimes read them because I'm bored, and some of them are just ridiculously they're trashy, and they have a very binary view of the universe, and it's just, you know, for me, the idea of writing stuff to try and scare people into believing in God is heresy. That people like Ray Comfort, if they were alive back when churches were in control of the world, he'd have probably been burnt on the stake for heresy. Because things he says today are, I'd consider being a heretic. He's trying to patch evolution in with biblical knowledge. Just you can't have that. You can either have faith or you can have fact. You can't have both mixed together. That's why I find Ken Ham such a scummy, weird character, especially since he's worth so much money that he could build his own museum, which isn't even a museum, it's a diorama, that he's literally not following the word of Christ at all. Christ says for a rich man, it's easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to go to heaven. So I'm always sceptical of any of these extremely rich, usually funded with other people's money, supposed religious leaders. I'm very questioning of why they do that. It's one of the reasons why the papal rule I find a little bit cleaner than particularly mega churches, because the papal rule, yes, a pope has a lot of power, yes, he's in silks and there's finery and gold, but he doesn't get any of that once he's out of the job. You know, the whole point of popes are that they, admittedly, I don't believe they're chosen by God. I believe it's chosen by a committee, but at least it is based on the idea that anyone could become pope. It's not some sort of royal thing. You don't get hereditary popes, which I can see why. There's a lot of things about Catholicism I sort of like. I just think the execution's done so poorly. I'm quite a fan of certain Catholics as well. I watched Bill Maher's film Ridiculous, can't pronounce it. But anyway, it's ridiculous, but with religion. And the Catholics in that, they came across as pretty, you know, normal, nice people. When you compare that to the sort of wacky Baptists that are very popular in America, who just say hateful things and then claim that God is speaking to them through their ear to say hateful and horrible things. Just find ridiculous. It's the Ray Comfort thing about constantly bashing on about homosexuality. I find extremely weird. For me, it is no man's job to judge another when it comes to religion. That God will judge you. And claiming that your judgment is literally helping them is it's a lie. It's basically an arrogance, a hubris. It is one of the 7 deadly sins. It is all about ego, the ego of the person who claims that they're religious, claims that God is speaking through them, which is basically a lie. They're basically extending their own ego and claiming that they somehow are special because they are religious. And people who say that, it's like the terminology when people say speaking as a Christian. No. You don't get that. That means that you are a heretic. That means that you're saying that you are dictating to others God's word, and that's not how it works. Sorry. You might not like it, but you're basically extending your ego and your arrogance onto a message, and you're bending that message to fit your viewpoint. And that's not what being a person of faith is about at all. That is basically, it is a complete misuse of religion. This is why I am highly sceptical whenever a politician starts talking about God, because you couldn't get anyone more breaking from God's laws than a career politician, who will usually be full of sinful things. They lie, they are obsessed with money, they are not trying to help people for the betterment of people. They are trying to basically get a job which will pay them ridiculous amounts of money and polish their ego. So particularly when I've seen these Republicans bashing on about I'm a man of faith and all this stuff, don't believe them, don't listen to them. They're not. They're charlatans, liars and heretics. And I'm pretty sure that probably if there is a heaven and hell, 99% of all politicians are in hell. Even the ones who had good ideas, ones like Roosevelt, they had to lie to keep those jobs in place and do bad things, which they probably were judged for. But I'm trying not to sound like a religious person who judges others. Again, I don't want to ruin my own argument, but it is not my place to judge others. It is a higher power who judges others. That higher power doesn't have to be a religious one, that could be society itself. But I find a lot of people don't seem to get that into their head very well, that they will judge people mainly out of a form of arrogance, that they are not thinking rationally, they are not listening to an argument, they are basically coming along to the table with their own judgment already. I see that a lot on Twitter. People won't even look at the link before they start doing the judgment. I've done it once or twice, especially with people like Alex Jones, because I've watched Alex Jones videos and they're not very good. He usually has a big bold claim at the beginning, but the more you watch it, the less information is being given to you, and then he tries to tie it in with lots of other things that just don't make any sense at all. I think one of his videos I watched recently was about drugs. Basically, he claims that drugs don't make people better, they make people worse, and it's part of a big conspiracy. And I was like, I don't think so. You know, if I was given the choice between drugs in a hospital after having a surgery or taking his snake oil that he seems to sell in I don't know what quantities. He keeps banging on about iodine, and his programs are like nearly 50% adverts for things and links to other videos. And you watch them and they're the same, they've got links to other videos, and it's literally like a sort of house of cards based on the Post saying things like proof that Kennedy assassination was by Illuminati, and really the only conversation in the video lasts about 5 minutes, and the other 20 minutes is literally adverts or links to other videos. And I think it's a sham. I think he's a scam artist. But I'm getting completely off topic again. Anyway, hopefully today I'll be able to go more than 10 feet from a toilet, and later on I might make the Left 4 Dead video, and I'll see you soon.